much, Dave. Thanks for joining. How are you? Oh, I've got you on mute there, I think, Dave. Let me see if I can get you off.
Yeah, he does that. That's the thing Gabe does. Like, he likes the stage, and so he mutes everybody else. So just if you're ever on a podcast with him or anything, just be warned. Like,
wouldn't be the first time, man.
It's not the first time.
So, Dave, just real quick, thoughts on the event. Again, a lot of people, I've been getting hundreds of messages just thanking people. Can't get to Shop Talk sometimes. It's expensive, but bringing these kind of speakers together for free content, all on AI. What's your take?
Well, and look, the quality and the expertise that these speakers are bringing us, like we've got, Sanyan from like Bain, like this guy, he leads Bain's AI practice. Super excited to have conversations with him. You've got head of worldwide product for Microsoft's Teams solution and how they're using Teams and collaboration and AI. So like, these are people who they don't have time for this, but they're like for free, they're jumping in, and it just goes, the depth, it just goes on and on. So like, look, I think this is the premier AI go-to-market event that I've seen. Now I'm biased, of course, because I'm involved, but even if I weren't, this is something I'd tune into. So pretty excited to be involved.
Yeah, look, and appreciate you and the team putting it on. Again, I think people are looking for ways to learn, and sometimes it can be difficult, but being able to consume this on their own time, I think they're super jazzed. So we wanted to jump in kind of our short time here and just talk about some of the trends and challenges going on. There's this word emerging that we've talked about. We've heard investors talk about it, this idea of the autonomous organization. And so today we'll be diving into this topic, but want to just backpedal just a little bit. You were in the trenches in the early SaaS wave, 80s, 90s, 2000s. Set the stage for us. How have companies traditionally kind of been scaling and growing? What did that look like in the past?
And this is going to be a problem because we have 20 minutes. I'm just going to warn people now. This is going to be a problem because this topic is really, really fascinating. So I'll go fast, cut me off if I'm going too long. But the way companies are getting built and have been built over the last 50 years has been evolving and changing. But there's this paradigm shift that just happened because of this new AI disruption. So let me kind of very brief back history. So like at Inside Sales, we raised nearly $400 million, and we just ran the traditional SaaS playbook. So when Mark Benioff at Salesforce left Oracle and then said, hey, I'm going to make a whole new industry of technology, SaaS, he's like, I'm going to do it a different way. Pardon me. So every venture firm said, oh, we love this. And they were dumping money. But what they were doing is they were dumping money into an entrepreneur running the old legacy brute force IBM playbook. So let me tell you what that playbook is. You raise a bunch, you get this great idea. You raise a bunch of money, 10 million, 100 million, $500 million. And then you hire this amazing executive to run sales and another amazing executive to run customer success. And then they say, okay, great. I know exactly what to do. And they just hire this armada of people who worked with them at the last company and then the next company and then the next company. And so it's just this brute force. And then they're like, oh, shoot, our process is chaos. What do we do? And they're like, we buy tools. So we buy Salesforce or we buy, a cadence tool or we buy a whatever. And it theoretically, it superimposes this new optimal workforce. And so that lasts for about 12 to 18 months. And then pretty soon the output's not there. So then they're like, oh, this doesn't work. They fire that sales executive or that marketing executive. And they're like, okay, let's start over. And it's just rinse and repeat. So this process happens. It's this brute. Now, here's what's interesting. It worked because it was a grow at all costs. You just dump money, scale more, dump money. Is it efficient? No. So then what happens? So you go fast forward.
Sorry, Dave, what did you call it? What's the organ? You called it the brute.
It's a brute force playbook. It's a brute force playbook where you just raise money, throw it at people. And it's like, here's an example. The average attainment rate, North America, sales rep attainment rate.
Below 50. It used to be below 50s now.
It's below 50%. So half of the AEs you hire don't hit quota. Yeah. But in the past it was okay. So then what happens is, let's call it 2015, 2018, investors were like, no. Now it's not grow at all costs. It's rule of 40, which really means you either need to grow fast or be profitable and the sum of your growth rate or your profitability needs to exceed 40%. We don't care which one. So it's like one of the two, and that worked okay. But then coming out of COVID, 2002, 2003, investors were like, no, that doesn't work at all. And it was the year of efficiency, if you remember. So like Facebook, you were at Facebook at the time. They laid off 25% of the workforce.
Yeah, that's right. And he called it the year of efficiency. X was in that. And man, if you didn't have ads, AI, or VR in your title, you were about on the chopping block, it seemed like back then. But
hundreds of thousands of people were
laid
off.
What was Twitter? Twitter, what was that number?
So it went from, what was it, 14,000, including contractors, down to 2,500, and 80% workforce. And it worked, except that and growth came down, but they were all great profitability. Like Facebook, their stock price tripled the year of efficiency because they were highly profitable, but their growth rate, a lot of growth rates came down. Like Twitter's growth rate came down.
Yeah, because they got so efficient, but they weren't able to manage they did need to eventually get back to growth,
that's
obviously,
right.
But the efficiency was certainly there. So that
leads us to today. So now what's happening? So again, here's your history. Grow at all costs. That was the brute force playbook. Grow or be profitable, then just be profitable and clean house. But today, the fourth phase of this kind of enterprise organizational, build strategy is what we're calling the autonomous organization or the autonomous enterprise. And what it means is basically go back to the investors, because the investors are the ones, whether it's board members or Wall Street, they're driving company growth. And so what they're saying is you need to both be profitable and grow. So it's not the or from 10 years ago, it's the and. Yeah. And the investors are like, I don't know how you're going to do it, but you need an AI strategy. So AI is like, they know it's an AI approach, but they don't know how. So
cool. No,
that's where we're at.
Yeah, I like the rapid. Yeah, look, that was rapid fire. So, okay, we got this brute force organization. I get it. I love the process. It's kind of like raise money, hire, get armies of people, build messy processes, pile to
fire them,
start over, etc.
So average sales leadership at tenure, 18 months.
Right.
Here's why.
They're coming and going, right? They're
6-month honeymoon, 6 months perform, 6 months transition out. And it just happens over and over. But growth happens along the way, but it's crazy costly. That's not where we're at today.
Yeah. So we moved to this autonomous organization, and AI is basically obviously the foundation of that. But I love the question you kind of ended with posing, like, how do I do that? It's nice that it's changing and AI is going to play a part, but I'd love to get into some of the core components of what you're seeing as part of this autonomous organization, how that's reshaping the future of work as we know it. So let's start at the top. What's kind of one of the core components of the things we're seeing in this?
I'm going to be rapid fire here again. So if people listening, and I think we have, it looks like, well over 1,000 people live, listening right now. So either reach out if you have questions afterwards. So I'm going to go fast. So there's different in each of these growth strategies of companies. There's been a key metric that measures the effectiveness. So like growth efficiency back in the mid 2000s, there was this term called a magic number, which really, calculates how efficiently you can just generate new customers. Yeah. Then it went into that rule of 40, which is like, you need to be efficient in one of these two ways. Then it moved forward and it's like, it was really just like EBITDA. It was like all EBITDA was the key number. Yep. In an autonomous organization or an autonomous enterprise, the key metric is what we're calling the ECE ratio. So it's the employee to cloud employee ratio, or the employee to autonomous agent ratio. And the key to all of this is there is the new organization is a hybrid organization of humans and AI. So that's the new metric. And so as you guys are thinking about—
And what do you think on that, Dave? I mean, right now, obviously, let's stick on the EC, and then I want to get to that kind of the cloud employee concept in just a second. But right now I'm a startup. I have 300 people, and I've used ChatGPT. That's kind of where 90% of people are right now. How do you see that change? What's the quick version? Do you see that it's 200 people, and how does that look in the future?
Okay, let me first define, there are two different AI assistants or AI tools. Again, sorry guys, I have a frog in my throat. One is an AI agent.
And that would be the term we hear everywhere. Yeah,
that's out there.
But I don't know if anybody knows what that means. So yeah, I'd be interested.
Yeah. So what that does is it is some kind of automation using AI that does a task. Think about workflow. It does a step or a few steps in a workflow. And so we see lots of that.
And it's very deterministic.
It's deterministic. It's
very if this, then that. It's like
that's
you tell it what to do.
That's right. And what's kind of behind it all is there are the old workflows that, we used to use, within Salesforce or all over the place. They're using AI to generate content in that workflow, but that workflow is still a deterministic workflow. Okay. Whereas a cloud employee, and we're seeing it pop up all over the web, that term of like a cloud employee or some variation of that term means it is an autonomous group of agents. So it's basically a cloud employee employs lots of these AI agents. So like at Signals, our cloud employees could have 30, 50, 200 AI agents doing work under it. Mm. And it really, where an AI agent does a task, a cloud employee does a job. So, look, this is a provocative thing and I'll say it. They do human jobs. They're replacing a typical job that does what a human does. And the most common.
Sorry, just so deterministic on one side, and then cloud employees are then what's the opposite?
Autonomous. So
more autonomous on that.
It's a good point. When I say autonomous, what I mean by that is there are different types of LLM models. Some of them generate content, and they're great. That's what we use in GPT all the time. Sure. And then we've heard this term. There's reasoning models. Yeah. A cloud employee uses AI to do reasoning, not like, so think about it this way. When a cloud employee has a task to do, it has lots of tools that it can access. It can scrape the web. It can interact with Salesforce. It can interact with HubSpot, with Marketo. It can, push into Gorgeous or Shopify. All those tools are available just like a human, and it determines what it needs. So it's available, but it autonomously makes decisions using reasoning models saying, I'll give you an example. If you give a job to a cloud employee, say, look, I need you to set an appointment for me today with, these 12 people. It will look through its tools and say, okay, I already have this person's calendar. I'm just going to go straight to the calendar and I'm going to set that appointment. Or this one, I don't know this person's info. I'm going to go reach out on LinkedIn and I'm going to find the LinkedIn handle and I'm going to then reach out that way. And then I'm going to send it an email. So there's an autonomous nature
there. I like that right? Example. Definitely.
And it's just like a human. It's just like a human.
And then Dave, so then take the step. It feels like in this autonomous org, there is a new org design. And it's humans, it's agents, and it's cloud employees. Maybe did I get that right? And then double click about how you see those kind of working together. Are cloud employees more in this area? Are they more here? Are agents more there? How do you see this new org design shaping?
Now there's interesting. So we just performed some research. And it's available. I think we'll make it available right now in the chat. If our producer Jenny can go put it out there. We just produced some research. The new organization will look like a matrix or a lattice. So you have functional leaders that still own the jobs and the areas, and those will always be humans, it appears. And then there's basically cross-functional or lattice type roles where people are responsible for these cloud employees or even these AI agents, and they'll use both. So an organization is going to be a combination of humans, of cloud employees, and AI agents that all do different things. Okay. And so you have humans who own functional areas, and then you also have humans who manage and operate both AI agents and cloud employees. So an example of an AI agent is Cursor or Windsurf, like these coding assistants.
More like Copilot type.
Copilots, that's right.
Kind of assist you in very specific areas. And where do you see AI agents playing versus cloud employees playing? Can you?
AI agents are, like you said, they're more attuned to doing tasks, which means they're really assistants for humans, or they're assistants for cloud employees. So they do tasks, whereas a cloud employee does a job and they're autonomous. So again, AI agents think about it like Cursor or things that help me do my job better. They're like little shortcuts and ways to simplify tasks. Whereas a cloud employee has access to these, and it does entire jobs. Now, one thing that's interesting that we're seeing happen is the tool glut, AI, and this new autonomous enterprise is actually changing the entire tool stack.
Yeah, I would love to hear that, because the tools are such a big part of the brute force organization. We got a tool for everybody in their org, and every RevOps leader had 72 of them and 72 different vendors. What's the future of tools in this kind of autonomous organization?
Yeah. So in fact, let me take one step back and talk about there's this concern. So in this study that I just mentioned, and I'm looking at the notes here, so I'm looking down. That's what I'm looking at. There's this fear that AI is going to replace us. And the study doesn't suggest that that's the case. It looks like 79% of executives are very confident. They feel very confident that AI is going to help them in go-to-market to generate more income and personally make more money. But so that's 79. 71% of them, however, feel that it's also going to threaten their job. So there's this contradiction. There's this dialectic concern that, yeah, I know it's going to help me, but I'm a little bit afraid. So that's actually one of the things that's preventing companies moving forward with this new kind of entity and new kind of organization. However, so remind me, what did you just ask me?
It's tool. You were kind of just highlighting the tools versus some of the teammate concept that we're seeing in this.
So the study also showed that 51.3, that's a very specific number, 51.3% of AI initiatives are actually being funded by defunding tools. So the tools are going away. This Franken-stack of an AE, remember in the old brute force playbook, I hire an exec, they hire tons of people, and then I buy a bunch of tools to optimize, create that workflow. AI doesn't need that quantity of employees. And as a result, the tools aren't needed. So a lot of this budget is coming out of the tools. So 51% of the budget for AI initiatives is just removing overstack of tools.
And it's because it sounds like, Dave, there is a movement, this UI layer might actually change. Like, do I really need name X tool maybe to listen to my phone calls and give me a transcript, for example, when I could have an AI teammate join my phone call, do a prep with me before, give me insights during and after, do a role play. Like, do I need a tool, or do I just want a teammate for that function? And so it sounds like there is going to be an interesting movement with the tool layer going forward.
I'm going to get some hate mail. I know when I say this, and I guess I'll take it.
Don't do it, and don't do. No, I don't know. Maybe do it.
Yeah. So I was talking with one of the CEOs of one of the largest SaaS companies in the planet. They're, multi-billion-dollar company. It was like 3 or 4 months ago. And he shared with me, he said, I believe that the entire SaaS technology industry is dead. And he said, I am disrupting my company. Within the next 12 months, we will be an AI native platform, because any company who is just throwing one more layer on this Franken-stack, and think about, you're all go-to-market leaders of various sorts listening. How many tools, you buy a CRM and then you're like, okay, but then I need a cadence tool. And then I need a phone system. And then I need this. And then I need a scheduling app. And then I need this. And all of a sudden you're buying and you're piecing together 15, 20, 30 tools. And this leader was like, AI it basically is forcing all those down to basically be a data holder, a database.
I love it.
So he's like, they will be gone. So if you're listening now, like, you need to get, in my opinion, and by the way, if you work for a SaaS company, you need to, again, this is where I'll get hate mail. You got to disrupt yourself. If a multi-billion-dollar SaaS CEO, one of the most successful on the planet, is saying that he believes he needs to disrupt his company, every one of us need to. If that's not a word of warning, nothing is. If you're in the SaaS space.
Got it. Okay. So a brute force organization moving to an autonomous organization, new metrics, new tools, kind of a new org design. In the last few minutes, let's hit kind of what's next. A lot of companies today trying to figure out how to move into this autonomous organization. A lot of studies out there saying that AI, the basis, the foundation of the autonomous organization, is failing miserably. How do you coach companies? What advice do you give them as we kind of look to wrap here?
Yeah. So look there, and there's some notorious studies that have just come out. MIT just said, essentially, AI is failing. There's lots of failed this, failed that. And look, we're definitely in a hype cycle, right? Like, we're hearing it all over where AI's been in this crazy hype. And then I think it's going to plateau a bit, but I think we're going to see it actually spike probably early, Q1 of next year. The way to get ahead of that cycle, though, is to couple of things. Number one, as we've seen our clients be successful deploying AI programs and initiatives, the first thing you have to do is you have to have an executive sponsor. Yeah. So if you've got a manager who wants to try something, it's not like it's going to, like the likelihood of failure is nearly 100%. So you need your CEO, a CMO, you need a C-level or an EVP level or someone senior in your organization to sponsor this, because there will be bumps and bruises along the way. Number two, anticipate complexity. Everyone's like, oh, AI should just do it. Like, why do I need to do any work? Anticipate. This is especially early on, it's a lot of work. It's tuning, it's tweaking it. It's the same as when you hire a human, you got to onboard them. You have to train them, and then you have to coach them, and then you have to, do a one-on-one with them. AI needs that same level of energy and effort. And then the last thing I would say is, don't try. We see a lot of people try and build it in-house, where they're like, oh, I'm just going to go put N8N, or I'm going to put a make thing. Find somebody that is really great at this and partner with them. And it's not that you can't. Like if you're that guy or that woman who's like, I love it. Okay, cool. But most of us don't have time for this. Hire someone and find a firm who is great at this. And then maybe if you're just trying to save money in the future, great, build it on your own. But start off with someone to increase your likelihood of success. And what we're seeing as people do this, we have found the success rates well over 80%. Now it's early, so I'm saying this with a caveat of like yet to be seen, but the deployments that we're seeing, that really executive sponsorship, basically allocate resource to do the work, and then find partners who have deep expertise. You do those three things, the likelihood of success is very high.
I love it. I love it. So Dave, really appreciate it. So fun to kind of talk about, again, this idea of moving from this brute force organization into this autonomous organization and some of the characteristics you're seeing.
Let me hit one last point.
Hit it. I knew you would. I was not surprised. Do it.
Watch your ratio, that ECE, like E to EC ratio. So how many humans do you have to cloud employees, or again, whatever name you want to put? That, I believe, the future organization, instead of having 300 employees, will have 50. It'll have, like, you'll see a 5-to-1, a 6-to-1. In some companies, you'll see a 10-to-1 human to cloud employee ratio. That's not AI agent. That's actual autonomous cloud employee. So just start tracking it. Just put it on your KPIs.
I love it. All right. Well, Dave, again, appreciate the time.